All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to bring you a very important update. I want to run through the list of my top NFT projects, that I'm looking to accumulate. I want to talk about what I see happening both short-term and long-term with these, run through some technical analysis and some entry points and some resistance levels that I'm considering. So, folks, if you like the sound of that, I want to ask you to do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. You gotta stay tuned to the channel because we're gonna be dropping absolute gold. So, folks, there's lots of opportunity with the NFT space, lots of hype, and also lots of risk. So, let's begin by running through some of the NFT projects that I've been researching and that are on kind of the top of my list in terms of importance and what I think they could do moving forward in terms of interest. So, let's begin by taking a look at Flow. So, folks, this project has been very, very interesting. They've been killing it. They're the team behind CryptoKitties, NBA Top Shot, and now they're soon going to be creating a digital store for the UFC. Folks, I am extremely bullish on this project. The thing I love most about this project in particular is that when people are buying these NFTs with NBA Top Shot, they don't know that it's crypto. A lot of people don't know that they're NFTs. And so they're doing an immensely good job of onboarding the normies into the crypto world. I bet you many people don't even know that they're NFTs and that this is crypto. Very great project. Unfortunately, it's kind of difficult to buy into this project. If we look here at some of the exchanges where it's listed on Kraken, but I don't believe it's available to North Americans in the United States and in Canada. I don't believe it's available. So, you know, it's kind of a bummer. That's why I'm bringing up some other coins. I want to make this kind of like a top 3 list, but because this is kind of hard to buy for a lot of people, I threw in four NFT projects that I think are going to do very well. But let's say you can, and let's say you manage to find a way to buy some Flow, because maybe there's some ways. I want to highlight some brief technical analysis here that I think you need to be aware of in order to understand what's going on. So we're in this descending triangle here. These are some of the most key support levels to look out for. I'd say $34.80. Aside from that, $33, and kind of the floor is about $30 for Flow. Now, we're in this descending triangle. We seem to be breaking out. For us to have confirmation of this bullish breakout from this descending triangle, and in order to make it far more likely that we see bullish continuation, we need to get above $38. We need to get above $30.50. We can see here there's a little bit of a spike in volume here. Once we can get above and hold above this region, I think retesting all-time highs and entering price discovery is far more likely. If we take some very basic TA here, if we take the height of the triangle here with this purple line and move it to the breakout point, I just clone this line. Could we go to $47, $48 pretty soon here based off some fib levels and the height of this ascending triangle? I definitely think so. But folks, that's just the short term. These are long-term holds for me. Now, I don't hold any Flow, but I would certainly love to. I'm very interested. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on some Flow. There's so many good projects, folks. It's really hard to choose sometimes. You have to be selective, unfortunately, sometimes. But folks, this is basically the most important TA you need to know to see bullish continuation. I think we need to get above that. If we see bullish continuation, short-term price targets are this right here. But folks, fuck the short-term. If you hold this, I don't know. I'm not saying that's what to do, but I think over long-term, these are all long-term holds for me. Because while you could make, yeah, sure, you could probably make. Let's see how much. Let's say you enter there. Sure, you can make 20-24% in the short term, but I'm seeing these projects I'm mentioning. I think they could do several X's, 2X's, 5X's, 10X's over the next few weeks and months and perhaps years. So I think the long term is where the vast majority of opportunity is. Now, folks, moving on to SuperFarm. Some of you may have heard about this project. Honestly, folks, I truly want to apologize. I feel shitty for not talking about this more when it was at these lower prices, because I've been following this every day and I've accumulated a very decent bag of SuperFarm because I think I'm very excited about this project. I think it has the capability to be a top project in the NFT space one day, because if we go to CoinGecko here and if we look at the top NFT projects, what is the market cap? Almost 2 billion, 1.3 billion. Then let's look up the market cap of SuperFarm. So SuperFarm's market cap is just under 200 million. So, folks, for those who don't know, SuperFarm, it aims to be kind of like an NFT ecosystem that makes native NFTs interoperable with other NFT ecosystems, and also brings utility to their NFTs. There's also a lot of staking and governance features with holding SuperFarm. So, I really like the idea of bringing greater, and just to even simplify things further, of bringing greater utility to NFTs and the NFT ecosystem and making things interoperable. That's really to put things simply, what SuperFarm is trying to do. And so right now, folks, they've barely released anything. They've hardly released a roadmap. They basically just released their token and their tokenomics. So this is very, very early stages. This is just idea at this point. They don't have a platform. They don't have a website. They don't really have much of a roadmap right now. So very early stages. Understand that this is not very developed, and anything new is very risky. Understand that there's always risk when it comes to investing, but if they are successful in some of the things that they want to accomplish, I could totally see this becoming a top NFT project, top 3, even maybe the biggest NFT project in the crypto space. And if we look at the top NFT projects right now, they're worth billions. Could this do a 5x? Could this do a 10x over the next couple months, maybe years? I think something like that is not impossible, especially if they start to deliver on their promises. And folks, very early days for this thing. They have not released their website. They've barely done anything other than release a token. So even still at these prices, I do believe that this is undervalued because they haven't released any of their utility yet. This is essentially like a $200 million idea. Imagine what this is going to do when the actual utility and actual functionality is built out. So in terms of what could be a good entry price, I'd say just $1.86, $1.87, just based off this wick here. And aside from that, I'd say $1.75. No guarantee that we fall back down this low. Although if we continue to get rejected off the psychological level of $2, there is a good chance that we could start to break down. And I've also drawn a channel here where if we start to break down from this channel, I think then more of an extended pullback is warranted. And so I think understanding how we react off this channel could be good to try and find a better entry, because if we start to retest the lower extremities of this channel, then maybe that could take us to $1.86, and maybe that's a good entry, right? Maybe we start to break down from this channel, and then aside from that, I think kind of our first floor support is $1.75. But if we really start to break down from this channel, maybe we can even fall lower. So these are some of the good entry prices that I have in mind. I've been accumulating a bunch of SuperFarm, so I'm very excited about the long-term future for this thing. I think over the long term, folks, something like this even still could probably do a 10x, even just to reach some of the other top projects in the NFT space. So moving on here, Bondly. I really like Bondly. I have their website pulled up here. So Bondly is a very smart project in my opinion, because they're partnering with a lot of normie influencers, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, one of the Pauls, and Tory Lanez. So they're partnering with, influencers, bringing in newbies into the NFT space. I like that. Okay, very early days. This project is still kind of a low capper in my opinion. So Bondly actually still has, I don't have all the developments in front of me, but they have a few things ahead of them, folks. So I still think it's early days. This is still relatively a low capper in my opinion. Anything below 100 million, it's kind of a low cap. So 87 million. Oof, it's kind of a low cap NFT project in my opinion, folks. So, let's take a look at their chart here, but to try to understand what's going on, because I think Bondly could be very interesting here. So I've drawn a few key support and resistance levels that I think will be helpful for understanding what could constitute good entry prices, and what could lead to lead to us seeing bullish continuation with this project. Well, I think we're kind of in this downward moving channel based off these two resistance lines here and this green support line here. So this could actually be interpreted as a bull flag, folks, where a bull flag is we have an impulse up, a downward moving channel. Once we break out of the top resistance line, then we break out typically the original length of the impulse. So if we just take the conservative case from this wick to the top of this wick and not even over here, we could actually probably even extend this further, but let's just be conservative here. So let's say we break above these two resistance levels here, and specifically I'd say 67 to 65 cents. If we can get above all that, I think retackling all-time highs and maybe reaching $1.20, $1.30 kind of makes some sense. I would not be the least bit surprised if in the short term, if we can break above these cluster of resistance areas here, I think it makes it more likely that we can see bullish continuation and eventually reach these price targets here. Now, I would expect us to reach, bump against some kind of resistance here, kind of like the 77 cents region. We can see there's a lot of sideways price action here, a lot of price reactive zone, and then obviously all-time highs. But again, I think maybe $1.20, $1.30 is definitely reasonable and in the playbooks if we can get above this cluster of resistance. So keep Bondly on your radar. I own Bondly, I own Super. I don't own any Flow because unfortunately it's hard to buy into it for North Americans. But very interesting. I'm gonna keep trying to dig and see if I can get my hands on some Flow because I really like that project. Although it is a higher capper, so I think Flow is the highest cap, and SuperFarm, then Bondly is kind of the lowest cap, and then another lowish capper that I like that plays in the NFT space is Eternity. And the reason why I like Eternity is because it's very early. Folks, like, they've barely released all their collections soon. So soon, you can see here how they're trying to release a bunch of NFT collections. As you can see, there's nothing released yet. So this is early. So if you were looking for an NFT project that, you know, you could be early to, give Eternity a shot as well. If we look up its market cap, I'm pretty sure it's a low capper as well. 138. Okay, so it's a little higher than Bondly, but I like the idea that it's early days with this thing. So, and the price structure does look interesting. We've been absolutely killing it. Now, in terms of a good entry for this thing, where I would probably be looking to start to dollar cost average my way into this thing, is probably anywhere from around $26, $26.40 really, to about, I'd say, $24.65, just based off some fib levels. We have a cluster of fib levels all in this region here. As well, a bit of sideways price action. This zone at around $25 is pretty price reactive, so I would expect us to find at least some kind of temporary floor of support here. And again, you know, there's always a possibility that we could fall further, but this is kind of where I would be looking to start to place my buy orders if I were so inclined. And again, folks, I make this video to with a long-term outlook in mind, okay? Because look, in the short term, all of these coins could have substantial corrections, okay? You know, some bad news story could hit the market and everything can crash. So it's very hard to predict what could happen in the short term, but over the long term, I think these are all solid NFT projects. I think the NFT space is here to stay, and I think it's gonna grow over the long term. These NFT projects are very good for onboarding the normies and the newbies that aren't hardcore crypto people. So I think NFTs are very interesting. I think they still have a lot of upside over the long term. So just understand that I think having a long-term outlook with these projects is where you're going to see the most return on investment. And leads you to not be shaken out by short-term movements, because we could correct. There's no guarantee that we'll continue going up, folks. We could correct further. We could correct. We can fall back down past all these support levels I mentioned. So just be aware of that. But again, you know, these levels I think are likely to act as support. Now, before you guys go, I think one very important chart to try and understand what the altcoin market is going to do, and thus what the NFT space is going to do, is the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is a very good chart to try and gauge the state of the altcoin market. And again, NFTs are altcoins, or at least they are altcoins. So whenever we see Bitcoin dominance rise, that means altcoins are typically going to suffer. Whenever we see it fall, that means altcoins are typically going to benefit. Now, if Bitcoin starts to enter price discovery, which by the way, we hit $60,000 at the day of recording, $60,000. So if Bitcoin continues to rise, that could place temporary dampers on the altcoins. But if and when we start to see Bitcoin dominance reach a roof and hit a roof and start to go for the leg down, that leg down is when we truly start to see the altcoins take off. Let's say it happens now. Let's say Bitcoin dominance starts to fall right now. That should tell you the altcoins have more gas in their tank to continue pumping. So if you want to know if the altcoin market is going to perform well or not, or when it's going to perform its best, take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Very good chart for understanding what is going to happen with the altcoins. So, folks, this I don't own. By the way, just before I finish off here, I don't own any Eternity. I don't own any Flow, but I do own Bondly and SuperFarm. I wish I could own all of these. I'm going to be looking into Flow just because they're behind a lot of big projects, UFC and NBA Top Shot. That is a big deal. So, folks, if you like this video, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.